So we're gonna do our segment. I don't think we skipped this last week, but we're gonna do our little fun segment at the end here, which is today is gonna be burst my beta cells. So Garrett, what has been bursting your beta cells lately?
Gotcha. So what's been bursting my beta cells lately is this mix of I know what to do and technology failures and going with life. And it's not so much that I'm ragging on just diabetes, but it's been bursting my beta cells that when you get momentum in life with other things and you're getting excited about other things, diabetes, just like any other activity, can take the back burner. And it's been bursting my beta cells that because we have this podcast and I love working with diabetics and I have, I like to think I know a thing or two, uh, but yet my own personal diabetes can fall. And that's kind of what's been happening a little bit. I'm about to get my actual A1C now, just my estimated glucose for my CGM. So I'll be interested to see what that actually is. But I feel overall my control hasn't been nearly as dialed in as it has been in the past. My last A1C, well, the number doesn't matter, so I'm not going to even say it. But I think it's higher than what it was. So, and I already know I'm not my number and all those other things. But as I'm building momentum in other parts of my life, it's just frustrating and but burst my beta cells that seems from an objective perspective, not just an emotional, which that too, it's been kind of hitting the back burner a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's always frustrating. Like whether it be the little episode I had with um, the technology failed that my blood sugar was like 300 for like 12 hours. You know, diabetes was
Yeah.
in the back burner. It was literally like if I was a true advocate for myself, I would have found a way to have somebody else see my patients, leave, take care of what I needed to, drive home, do my thing, come back because I was all out of my backups. But I didn't, or I would do all these other things. So it's just been bursting my beta cells that my personal diabetes care has been slacking as I've been building momentum in other parts of my life. And it's just frustrating because it's a nonstop war. We always got to do it no matter what. And we can't take the back burner. And you can, but then you have to accept the consequences, that it's going to be affecting your health.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just unfortunate.
Yeah.
So it's been it kind of burst my beta cells recently that I'm sure others can relate to.
Yeah. Yeah. What's been
Um,
bursting or what burst my beta cells the most recent was probably getting off on my sleep schedule. It's
mm,
been a while since like I've had a major like shift in my sleep schedule or did like a um did something stupid with sleeping, which is like not getting very much sleep one night. I think it was on Friday night.
when Dr. Grady was in chiropractic school, he was a machine his first year. Yeah, he like plugged himself at the wall and like did push-ups while he slept, and then he was like good to go, and he didn't drink any caffeine. So when he says like a weird sleep schedule, like things are going weird. So
Yeah.
continue.
Yeah, so I was just being stupid. I didn't sleep because I wanted to do other things. And so my blood sugar just got way off because my body was not used to having that wacky of a sleep schedule. And
Mm-hmm.
so I knew it was probably going to happen because it's happened. Obviously, I've had data before, so I knew something like that was going to happen. But it's been such a long time that I also wasn't sure how severe it was going to be because I'm like, well, my body's in a much better place than the last time I did something like this. And so I wasn't sure what was going to happen. So um, ultimately, my blood sugar was spiking a lot because of all the cortisol being off, and the cortisol rhythm was off in my day to day.
Mm.
And it's still kind of trying to figure itself out. I've had a lot of like highs, weird highs to where it's like, all right, this really doesn't make a lot of sense um with even what was going on. So like, obviously you think the cortisol is going to be highest in the morning, and so you're going to have more of your spike if the cortisol is off in the morning. But I've had a few times where it's kind of spiked in the middle of the day or towards the later part of the day, which caught me by surprise. And so it's just like trying to get my body back into that sleep rhythm. So then it's I'm normalizing, which is frustrating because it's just like, oh, it was one day, it was one night, but now I have to pay the consequences for, you know, at least several days, maybe even a week. Who knows how long this will last? But I
Oh
feel like
wow.
it's normally normalizing. But at the same time, you never know. It'll sneak up and get you again.
So when you think you'll fully be on track, if you had to guess?
I am hoping tomorrow it will be back to fully normal. However, do I believe that? Probably not. It might be another 2 days.
Do you think you're gonna ease, like, because we've been, before we started recording, we were talking about all the things we have going on, in our individual lives. With the things you have in the works right now, do you feel it'll easily for you to fall into that trap again? And
I
if
feel like
so,
it's gonna happen again.
what are your strategies, you think, going into it?
Yeah, so
Thinking of it
recently
inevitably.
I've been trying to make sleep a priority, and this
God
was even
bless.
before all this happened. But I've been making it a more of a priority than I did in the past. So like in chiropractic school, it was not a priority at all really. And I made working out more of a priority than sleeping because I would always work out in the morning because I knew if I waited till the end of the day, I may not do it because I'd feel like I need to study and all that stuff. So now I'm making it a priority, and therefore I've more so sacrificed my working out versus the sleep. But at the same time, you can only do that for so long, or at least I can only do that for so long. So I'm going to be starting working out again because right now things are a little bit slower than they were as far as what I need to get done and all those things. But it's going to be picking up again. And I don't necessarily foresee myself cutting the working out totally again. So I'm going to be trying to implement some strategies to make myself more efficient. So, maybe cutting out a lot of extra stuff that I don't need to be doing, like social media stuff or watching things that I don't necessarily need to be watching because they're not necessarily productive. And also things like meditation, because that just ultimately makes you more efficient at doing each individual task.
Mhm.
Because at least for me, and I know a lot of other people, your mind's not nearly as cluttered when you're trying to do something. So whatever it is, school, work, even just casual activities, you don't have a bunch of stuff bombarding your brain because your brain is practiced at focusing on one thing at a time.
Mhm.
So implementing things, more of those types of things help make my body and my brain more efficient. So I get things done and without sacrificing some of the things that are really important to me, like working out or sleeping. So hopefully I can get to a spot to where I can get it, I can get all the things done I need to get done in a day without sacrificing the sleep. But having said that, hopefully I keep on track, but I'm kind of doubting it.
Yeah, that was way more in depth than I thought you were about to go. And yeah, I think there are a lot of valuable things you said, because it's almost like you expanded on my burst my beta cells, because I was broad. I didn't like talk about why I let my diabetes go out of the wasteland. I was almost just more complaining.
Mhm.
Um, but you went a step further, and instead of complaining, you were sharing, and then you said action steps, very specific, which is amazing. That's why I look up to you, Grady, and why you're a good mentor to me, because that right there is a great example of how we all should kind of approach these situations. And for me, that is one thing that I have been doing. I've been getting very low sleep, not prioritizing sleep. Long and short, I don't think I can until the end of, it's the middle of summer. And but what I've been doing is I've primed myself and worked on myself enough where I can handle this amount of stress and things going on. And one of those things is meditation, to clear my mind. So when I'm doing a task, I'm more focused to do that task, and priming my brain to be able to handle things like that. Because in reality, there's no such thing as multitasking. There's just being multi-distracted.
Yeah.
And if that's not a quote, put that on a t-shirt. That's going on a t-shirt. And so, being able to do that, and I'm able to, and you can handle stress in these types of situations temporarily when you have been eating right and getting your numbers right and controlling yourself and respecting yourself and loving yourself and moving your body, doing all the things that are needed from a lifestyle perspective to be able to handle moments like this. Because if you're already inflamed and you already got gut issues, you got already all these other things going on, and then you're trying to do periods of time when you're working really hard and you're not sleeping and you're doing your blood sugar is doing all these things, it becomes way more of a hassle.
Yeah.
But I love the strategies that you just suggested, knowing that sleep is probably going to be maybe minimal again in the future for you and what you're doing for it. And I think that's huge. And I think that's a lesson we can all take away. So thank you, Dr. Grady.
You are welcome.
That being said, we've never really have needed to have announcements, but this probably should have been on the beginning part of the podcast. And maybe it is. Who knows? Grady's great at editing. But we now have our website is now live. And
finally,
that's super exciting. That's one of the things that, we really, the master technician nerd behind the scenes, Dr. Grady Dono has been working on. And he's been working really hard on that. So we're happy with our website. And we'll put a link in this podcast episode to it. And you can actually listen to and share our episodes from that website too.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to be doing more blog posts, more writing, media on there too, sharing some things, sharing articles in different ways. There's only a couple blog posts on there right now. But then eventually we'll have a couple other things that you'll see on that, store, some t-shirts and whatever else on there too. But mostly it's all about sharing information. So whether both podcasts and blogs are probably going to be the main focus of that website. So super excited. And that's a fun announcement that the Die Buddies podcast website is now live.
Oh yeah.
One more step to being legit.
Yep.
Right on. All right. Well, that being said, normally we have like a big take-home message, and I'm sure I could whip something up about the controversy of the episode we talked about. But sometimes it's okay just to talk.
Yep.
So thanks everyone for listening.